Hey, what's up guys? And in today's video I'm going to be creating a quick anomaly build budget version for the Pyromancer. So previously I did a Devastator one that seemed to be really popular, so I'm going to do a Pyromancer version. Hopefully this isn't going to be too long. So this is just a budget version for all you Pyromancers out there that want to do decent damage, but you don't have all the crazy legendaries, overpowered mod. So no tier 3 mods, legendaries, very easy to use. All the mod can be purchased from the vendors, random vendors around the world. I'll show you my mods I'll be using. So yeah, let's get into the build. I've been checking out a lot of videos online that show all these crazy OP builds, and then when you click the video, these guys have all the best legendary mods in the game and all the best legendaries at weapons and armor. And like in this game, some of the mods, some of the tier 3 mods are so powerful they can pretty much double and triple your damage, quadruple your damage even. And you'll be using the exact same loadout, or you'll be missing a few legendary pieces, and your damage will be won't even be half as good. So this is a budget version, as strong as you possibly can. So this is a budget version, of course, so you won't be doing crazy OP damage, but your damage will be pretty good, and your survivability will be pretty good. So if you're starting out as a Pyromancer while you're still leveling up, it's going to be a bit difficult because the way the scaling works, you're going to be really squishy and very weak in the beginning, but your damage will get better once you reach level 30 and your gear pieces around level 45 plus. So let's get into the build. The first most important thing about the build is your stats. So before you even get into all the perks, make sure your stats are right. The most important stats are going to be, of course, anomaly. If you look at armor pieces, anomaly, cooldown and status power. For an anomaly build, this is a skill build, basically your abilities. You want anomaly power to increase that. If you're going for a gun build, it'll be firepower, but obviously I'm going for an anomaly build. So you want anomaly power as the main attribute. For example, if you got a max health piece equipped, you'll be wondering why aren't you doing as much damage? Because you got a health piece equipped, so it just gives you max health. This gives you health. You won't be doing as much damage as if you have an anomaly build, right? So any of you new players wondering why abilities are not doing a lot of damage, but this is an anomaly build, so obviously we want all 4 of these to be an anomaly, right? All 5 gear pieces to be an anomaly. And the second most important ability for this build is stasis power. So as you can see, it's got status power, cooldown reduction. This is the ultimate gear piece stats you want. You want anomaly, cooldown, but sometimes you can't get them this perfect. Like this one's got anomaly and status, and it's not got cooldown, which is fine. The most important ones is anomaly and status. Those directly affect your damage. As you can see, status power is at 128%. This increases the damage of your burn, toxic and bleed, and also increases the duration of freeze, ash, vulnerable and weakness. The mistake I made when I was playing the game, I didn't think guns mattered that much, especially for an anomaly build. You won't be using your guns that much, but the stats matter. Can you see there? It's got armor piercing, status and close range damage. So all these stats affect your overall abilities. Weapon stats affect your whole build. So that armor piercing will, when you got this equipped in battle, that armor piercing and status power will be added on top of your total status powers. You want as much status power. So a gun with status power, I've got all my 3 guns with status power. As you can see, I got armor piercing and status power, armor piercing, status power, armor piercing, status power. At all times, whatever gun I've got equipped, my status power is pretty high. So now let's go into the skills. Phaser beam, you're going to be using phaser beam as your main damage dealer. Basically, the character puts his hands together and fires a big energy wave in a straight line. It's got decent range, and it scales off your status power, as it says. As you can see, it scales from 220% of your status power. So it scales off that. That's why you need a lot of status power. When I first started using it, I didn't have a lot of status power on my builds, and I was wondering why this wasn't doing as much damage as it did in other videos. But yeah, it scales off your status power, not your anomaly. So yeah, make sure you got all armor pieces with status power. And then the second skill you're going to be using is Feed the Flames. It will basically inflict ash and absorb health. This is your heal, your instant heal. It absorbs health off one target. There's mods which you can equip to make it better, but we'll get into the mods later. Thermal bomb is your third skill. You hit an enemy with this, they burn, and when you kill them while they're burnt, they explode into a bomb and inflict damage all around you. They got relatively low cooldowns. That's got 12 seconds. Phaser beam has got 9 seconds. It's actually got about 12 seconds as well, 13 seconds. So I was playing around with all these skills. Heat wave is good. These two are a must because they work together with the class skills. I'll be showing you about Phaser beam and feeder flames. This is just the optional, but I prefer this because it's got a low cooldown, 12 seconds. Heat wave is decent, but it doesn't do that much damage until you get some other mods from some legendary perks. But for the budget version, I feel like the thermal bomb is the best, but you can use heat wave as well. Eruption is pretty good, but look at that. I used it, but look at that cooldown time, 37 seconds. That is just insane. You can cast 3 of these by the time this is charging. Like, I don't know why they made this cooldown so long. It's such a great skill, but the cooldown is just so low. So let's go to this class. We'll be running middle tree, so to give you the most damage. So basically you want to get to magma elemental. So you only got 20 points, so you just want to make sure you get all the points like I have done right now. So the first node is health, you need that. So the second one, warm up, reduces the cooldown ability of Phaser beam by 15%. And it does it for other skills, but the ones relevant to this build, Phaser beam will be reduced by 15%. You don't need skill leech, so this is just going to be a wasted node. You could use it. Skill leech, when you do damage with your skills, you regain health, but trust me, you'll be regaining health plenty enough without this. So make sure you get the cooldown, increase your health. That's a necessary one. This one isn't really that needed. Take wildfire instead, reduce your cooldown. This increases your armor piercing, but armor piercing is only good for guns. Basically, you'll be using most abilities, so just go for the cooldown, and then go burned enemies take 20% more damage. Your armor isn't that needed. You'll have plenty of armor, and I'll show you how to get plenty of armor in this build. Increase your health, then you're gonna go up. When burn ends, enemies get inflicted with ash, which basically freezes them in place. It's like a freeze, but they'll be like grayed out and they'll be frozen in place for a few seconds. So that's what ash does. And then weapon damage, but you're doing it mainly for this perk. Activating your immobilized ability increases your anomaly power by basically 45%, almost 50%. So this is what you'll be using your feeder flames for. So we're just doing this just to get this perk. Then you go back to get increase your resistance. This is weapon damage and anomaly by 5%. 5% is such a small amount, it's not worth it. You're better off with getting resistance, which increases basically your defenses, and negative abilities put on you will be reduced by 20%. You know, debuffs. And then distant flame, you want this as well. Increase your anomaly power by 2.5% based on the magma golem nodes. So these are the magma golem nodes. These ones with the zigzag thing, magma golem, magma golem, magma golem, magma golem. So it's quite a few of them. That's about 12% increase, maybe 12.5% increase, because there's like 5 of them nodes. Each node is 2.5, so I think that's like 12.5% increase of anomaly power. And so you come down here, your burns last longer, so with that they'll last longer and do 20% more damage. Skill leech, irrelevant, don't bother with that. Increase your health, you're gonna need to come this one. Activating ignite skills increases your armor by 45%. So when you basically use your phaser beam, you'll have 45% armor for 10 seconds. Then you come down here, doubles your skill leech when you're under 30% health. So you get plenty of enough skill leech as it is. And then this is cooldown, there's no point, don't go for the cooldown, go for enemies inflicted by burn, receive more damage. Magma element, activating an ignite skill increases your armor piercing by 45% and increases resistance piercing by 45%. This skill works on heat wave if you're using the wall skill, the flame wall skill, or phaser beam. We'll be using phaser beam. So every time we use phaser beam, we'll basically cut their defenses in half. So that's what this does. Resistance piercing. All the elites, when they activate resistance piercing, they'll become very tanky and hard to kill. So this will cut that defense by half. So yeah, that's it really. So just do it like I did this way. Cooldown here is 9, but it's not essential. You'll get enough cooldown from your armor piece, and you got limited nodes. You only got 20. So like I said, as long as your skill tree looks like this, I'm just giving you a little explanation in case like you're a new player to this game. I hope you understood the explanation. If you're a new player, I just wanted to explain this to you so you understand what each skills do. First, I usually cast Thermal Bomb to prime the enemies which are gonna be killed, and then I'll activate Feed the Flames, get that 45% increased anomaly power, then finish them off with Phaser Beam. And once they finish them up, and once they're dead from Phaser Beam, they explode doing additional damage. Or you could use Heat Wave and then these two skills, but the point of the build is first always use Feed the Flames and then Phaser Beam to clean them up. So your main damage dealer will be Phaser Beam, so you want skills that will prioritize Phaser Beam basically. So let's go into the mods now. One of its weaknesses is it's not as tanky as all the other classes. You could get killed, especially on CT14, 15. So I'm going to show you how to make these very tanky. That's where this node comes in. Activating an ignite skill increases your armor for 45%. So look at your armor skill. I got 100,000. So activating Phaser Beam is basically 100,000. So activating Phaser Beam will basically add 50,000 on top of that. And the reason I got it that high is because I've got Damage Absorber. So as you can see on my helmet, I've got Damage Absorber perk. All these perks, guys, by the way, all these mods are tier 2 mods. So this will increase your resistance by 10% and armor by 47,000 based on your armor level. But it's gonna be by 50,000 if this is like level 50. But as long as you're like level 48 plus, 45 plus, you should be able to do tier 13, 14, 15. As long as you're in your over level 45, I'd say. But you ideally want to be level 49 plus. Just take a blue piece of gear like this, level it up, you know, very cheap, and get it to as high as you can. Then improve its rarity. And once you've improved your rarity, acquire the right skills. But as long as your item level is as high as you can be, whatever tier you're on, make sure this is the highest you can be. But yeah, the main perks I'm using, essential perks, Damage Absorber, you need that. It increases your armor by an extra 50,000. So your armor is probably like, initially it's probably around 50,000. So putting this will give you another 50,000, basically make your armor around 100,000. That's why, as you can see by my armor, it's almost 100,000. And when I activate Phaser Beam, it'll be increased by 45%, which will basically give me around 150,000 armor. It makes me quite tanky. I can face tank most of the enemies, you know. And Feed the Flames is always there, instant heal, which will recover all my health. So ideally you want armor pieces with decent mods. Like this one came with Damage Absorb. Right, the main priority is the stats, of course, armor, anomaly power, and status power. The most essential mods for this one is Phaser Beam Size Matters. You need Size Matters, and it's a tier 1 mod. You can find it on any pieces, but Size Matters will increase the width of the laser beam, basically double its size. It's way too narrow normally, so you definitely need Size Matters. 100% you need that. Another mod I strongly recommend is Frequent Phaser Cooldown. Reduces the cooldown by 30%. These two mods are extremely invaluable, you know. So you got the cooldown of Phaser Beam by 30%, and you've got this size increase. Another mod which I strongly recommend is No Resistance Against the 45. This is a tier 2 mod found in armor pieces, so it's a tier 2 mod. So yeah, it's usually found at the bottom here somewhere. I think that's it. I think that's the one. So yeah, No Resistance Against the 45 increases your resistance piercing by 50% of your armor piercing value, which basically, when you activate Phaser Beam, you'll get resistance piercing 45%, basically 50%. So you'll basically get an additional 25% in total, give you over 70% resistance pierce. So yeah, those are the essential mods. Phaser Beam size increase, the duration cooldown for Phaser Beam, and no resistance piercing. So when I'm using Thermal Bomb, I use Thermal Bomb, an additional Thermal Bomb. So it gives me 2 Thermal Bombs before cooldown. So you can always miss the first one. So having 2 makes it handy. When I'm using Thermal Bomb, I use Ash Grasp, which basically applies Ash within the radius 7 meters for enemies about to explode, which is very handy because, you know, whenever I apply thermal bomb, it can freeze all the enemies around me, keeping me alive. Crowd control. If you're using the firewall, I would suggest you use burnout. Enemies take 25% more damage by heat wave, and also additional heat waves. You got 2 mods that give you an additional heat wave, so you can have 3: tidal wave and rider wave. So it'll give you 3 heat waves in total. So heat wave is a good tool to debuff. You can use it, but it requires like 3 mods. These 2 for 2 additional ones, and burnout to give you increased damage to enemies. And also for the guns, the resistance breaker lowers the enemy's resistance. The elites lowers their resistance by 35% for 6 seconds, and you can use vulnerable. So this is a budget build. So yeah, don't be expecting to get gold clears on tier 15, but you will be doing respectable damage, and you can carry you can hold your own, and until you farm the right legendaries. So when I'm fighting regular enemies, I like to use my gun with vulnerable. Look at that, just one shot everything in my path, you know. And look at the cooldowns, you just gotta wait like 10 seconds. So just perform thermal bomb, boom, there you go. And this is tier 15. So with regular enemies, I use vulnerable to make them take more damage. Look at that. And this is level 15. This is tier 15. So all those armor mods are keeping you alive right now because you'll be taking more damage. So you want to activate Feed the Flames, then Phaser Beam, increases your piercing. You know, you're not doing no game breaking damage, you're not going to be one-shotting any elite or anything like that, but you know, you use your gun, apply resistance breaker, you know, always cast your Feed the Flames first, then hit them with a Phaser Beam, and you'll chip him down, you know. Try to get them all in the middle. It'll take some practice to use Phaser Beam, but try to keep all the enemies in front of you. Run around to stall. Use Feed the Flames to increase your anomaly power and to just heal yourself, and then Phaser Beam. With that 45% anomaly power, your Phaser Beam will, you see, with the increased radius, boom. You know, we're not going to be doing no world breaking times, but you know, thermal bomb, just finish him off. Feed the Flames, 45% anomaly power, Phaser Beam, there you go, 700,000 damage. No legendaries at all. Tier 2 mods. With legendaries, people are doing like 1 million damage, 2 million damage. That's because the legendary mods are just incredibly powerful, but this is tier 15. You know, as long as your average item level is level 49 plus or 48, you know, you want it level 50, but you know, that's level 50, level 49, 49, 49, 49, 50, 50, 50. So if you can just get them to like level 50 or 49, that's what's contributing to your maximum health and anomaly power, you know. So that's going to be a major contributing factor to the damage you do, your average item level. Please like and subscribe, and comment below if this video helped you out. Hope you guys are still enjoying the game, but if this video helped you out, let me know in the comments below. Please like and give us a subscribe, help us grow, and I'll see you guys in the next video.